Steffi, and today we're talking about road trips. So, it's summertime here, and I don't know about you guys, but summertime to me means like a road trip, because you know you have time, and it's nice. I've gone on 2 road trips. One was 2 days, one was an hour, so I'm counting them both. Road trips can be fun, but also really terribly boring, because you want to read. You take all these books, you're like, every single one, I'm taking every book. And then you read like 2 books. And it's awful and no fun. I think my 2-day road trip, I read 6 books throughout the trip. 6 or 7 books, which is good. I took 12, just in case, you know. If you want to read all of the books on your road trip, then here are some tips and tricks on how to read more on road trips. Have multiple books going. Like, so if I'm reading this book, and I'm getting halfway through and I'm getting bored and my eyes are floating, I can pick up this book and read some of that and then switch back and forth and maybe even have even more books going so I don't get bored and my eyes don't get tired. You see what this is doing? When you're not feeling YA, don't read YA, read adult fiction or non-fiction or a classic. Just read something else and you'll get a whole lot more done, I promise. Multiple genres. This is like going back to have multiple books going. So if you're having multiple YA books, that can sometimes work too. But the thing you want is to have multiple books going of multiple genres. If you like to read mainly YA, then pack mainly YA. But don't pack only YA because you're going to get bored. So if I'm reading this and then I pick up another YA, things are going to start to sound redundant. And I'm not going to want to read any more YA. So for one, when you pack most YA, pack contemporary fantasy, historical fiction, pack everything. And then also pack like a non-fiction book or an adult fiction and a classic. Have a little bit of everything so when you get bored you can switch and then it won't ruin your perceptions of the book. Audiobooks. Audiobooks are so important because when it gets too dark to read, your mind is still going and you want to read more, you can listen to your audiobook. When your eyes start to hurt and you want to close your eyes, listen to your audiobook. The words aren't forming on the page anymore because you've been reading for 7 hours straight. Listen to an audiobook. Right now I'm listening to Outlander, and so on my long trip, the first day we drove 12 hours. 2 or 3 of those hours we were in the dark, and so I listened to Outlander and it worked. I didn't get a lot of listening in because I'm really bad about listening to audiobooks, but I got listening done. Also, if you get car sick from reading in the car but you still want to read in the car, switch between audiobooks and ebooks and regular books like pretty frequently. It'll help, I promise. Don't push yourself. If you push yourself, you will inevitably push yourself into a reading slump of horrific proportions. So if you want to take a nap, take the nap and then come back to reading later, because like if you push yourself and you're like, I have to read a book a day, that's not realistic. It's just not, unless you're reading books like this size and you're not even putting it down. That's unrealistic. Don't push yourself like that. It'll hurt you and then you won't want to read and then you'll get bored and you'll find yourself just wasting time. You're using up your phone battery, staring at the window. A slump is bad anyway, but a slump is even worse when you're on a road trip because you're sitting in the car for endless hours with your family and your siblings, your friends, and you're just like, how do I distract myself? You read, unless you're in a reading slump. Set a goal. Tell yourself how many books you want to read in like X amount of time. Me, I was like, I'd like to read 3 books there, 3 books back. It didn't happen like that, but I got that many books done because it was 2 days there and 2 days back. That's 4 days of sitting in a car. So I can read 3 books there and 3 books back, but I didn't mean 3 books in the car. I meant 3 books on my journey there. So in the hotel, in the restaurants, in the car, in bathrooms, like wherever I found time to read, I wanted to get 3 books in. And then I would read through the trip. I got 6 or 7 books in. So that being said, like my goal kind of helped. Set yourself a reasonable goal though. Like don't set yourself, I want to read 10 books in my 5-hour road trip. That's not good. Don't do that. 5 hours, I'd recommend 2 or 3 books, or maybe a book and a half. It also depends on what you're reading. If you're reading all books this size, then you can go for a higher goal. But if you're reading books like this one, which is a behemoth and the font is tiny, then maybe don't set yourself such a high goal. If you have a goal, goal and you really want to reach this goal, keep your phone in your pocket or your bag so you can have fewer distractions. Like, don't pull out your phone, don't be like, oh, I need to look this up. If you're keeping track of like what page you're on in multiple books with your phone, that's one thing, but if every few minutes you're playing a game or something, like, don't do that. If you really want to reach this goal you've set yourself, then don't have your phone out. If it's difficult for you to not have your phone out, like if you get anxious, or then just go, I'm gonna take 30 minutes without my phone and then I'll have my phone out for another 30 minutes and just alternate, so you will have time without that distraction. What length of books you pack depends on your goals. If you had said, I want to finish a really big book, then pack maybe 2 or 3 really big books. But if you're like, I want to read a bunch of books, then just pack smaller books. Like my example for this entire video, this one. Like, see, this is a good size to sit and read. The font isn't too small. It's good to have an idea of like what kind of books you want to read or what kind of goal you want to set yourself. So just pack accordingly. This is a good time to topple that TBR. If you have a 2016 reading challenge like I do, this is a good time to take that challenge. Like for me, the biggest problem I'm having with mine is the book chosen for me by someone else, the book published before you're born banned book, and a book that intimidates me. So my next road trip, I will pack accordingly. I'll say, I'll have someone pick a book for me, a big book that's scary, a banned book, and a book published before I was born. Pack accordingly, take into account any challenges you're taking part in, any readathons you're taking part in. Don't just shove books into your bag, is like the moral of this story. Pack strategically. That concludes my tips and tricks for how to read more on road trips video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to give this a thumbs up. Subscribe with that really pretty button next to my name and picture, and I will see you next week. Again, if you want to leave questions for an upcoming Q&A video that I would like to do, feel free to do that under any of my videos on any of my social media. I'll accept them from anywhere. Just be sure to let me know that I have a question for a Q&A video, and